Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Today's video is going to be all about where we currently stand in this crypto market, and is the bull run still going? Is it over? A lot of questions started coming out over the weekend, especially when we had these double-digit red days. Things were plummeting, values dropped by 50%. The sky was absolutely falling. So, where do we stand today? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you about in this video. So, if you know me, you know I like looking at fundamentals, I like historical charts, I like to apply the data and make a informed decision from there. I'm not going to assume anything, okay? And so I really knew that things were taking a turn for the worse when I was starting to get people reaching out to me with investment advice. So I figure I need to post this video, so here we go and we can clear the air, all right? So as always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get to the chalkboard and get it going. So as I mentioned earlier, if you were following the crypto market this weekend, everything was double-digit red. We basically had one FUD story after another FUD story after another FUD story, just compounding on top of each other. And the ironic thing is, in the crypto market, it always seems to happen at once. It doesn't kind of slowly happen. They all drop at once and then the whole thing tanks, right? So, when the whales triggered a large sell-off, what it did was it liquidated a significant amount of leverage traders. So there's quite a few traders in the crypto space that trade on leverage. They're basically trading with more money than they have. And what happens is the whales know that when they go with this FUD and they issue a large sell order, they know they will liquidate all of these traders. And what happens every time? The market tanks. We go through this every 2 to 3 weeks, and every time we do, everybody says, oh my God, is this it? Is this the end of crypto? I'll give you a hint. No, it's not. Okay, now, what it also did was it shook out the weak new hands, which has been confirmed because we can see data that shows that Bitcoin holders of less than 1 year were the predominant sellers, while Bitcoin holders of more than 1 year were the predominant buyers. Okay, you can see that in the on-chain analysis. Now, what I think, though, was probably the most important thing that the coordinated dump did was that it took down the moving averages and it created bearish crosses of the 20-day, the 50-day, and we're still kind of heading towards the 200-day. And so what happens is when we have a bearish cross and things turn downward, we have the same thing in the MACD when we're looking at indicators on the stock chart, is that all that momentum goes down. And when it does, it's probably going to take a week to a couple of weeks to rebound. It usually does not rebound instantly, but that being said, the market's up over 17% today, so go figure. Now, we also had a close below the 200-day moving average of Bitcoin. That was really important because when that happened, that indicated that those 20 and 50-day moving averages were going to go bearish. Now, what's interesting, though, as I mentioned, is that with everything up today, selling fatigue has started to set in, and now people are buying, right? And even more importantly, if you look at the chart on Bitcoin and you see the market cipher, we have a green dot on the chart. Green dot typically indicates buy, all right? Now, this could be a false positive because we need the moving averages to correct themselves before we are officially bullish again. And as I said, my estimation is that could take a couple of weeks. Regardless, though, the green dot is a good thing, all right? Now, ironically, on crypto Twitter, a lot of doubt was setting in this past weekend, with many of the experienced people on there even saying, I don't know, is this it? Contemplating, is it really over, right? Well, let's look at some data. So first we have the post by Raoul Pal posted via Bloomberg. So check this out. In this chart, you can see the blue line is Bitcoin's chart from 2013, while the white line is Bitcoin's chart today. Now, they're almost too similar and quite fascinating, actually. Now, we are following the 2013 chart. You can see that. It's pretty obvious, right? And in doing so, we still have the potential for significant gains through the rest of this year. Now, next, we have a chart posted by Young and Investing on Twitter that tracks return on investment with the days since the bottom. Now, what's interesting to note here is that each cycle seems to track longer than the previous cycle, with blue as cycle 1, orange as cycle 2, yellow as cycle 3, and purple as cycle 4. If this run tracks historically, and we're not even 2/3 of the way through the last cycle, for this cycle to end now would make no sense at all, because it would deviate from the prior 3 cycles, okay? Now, it's also evident we have quite a ways to go. Next, from Look Into Bitcoin, for anybody who follows Plan B in his stock to flow chart, he's one of the head people behind Look Into Bitcoin. So from lookintobitcoin.com, we have a relative unrealized profit loss chart. Now, what's interesting in this one is that it tracks capitulation in the green section, the bottom, hope and fear next in the white section. We have optimism, denial in the middle peach section, greed in the orange section and second from the top, and red, the euphoria section at the top. Now, each time we've ever come near euphoria, ultimately the Bitcoin price drops. But what's really telling is that each drop is less than the previous drop. So you can see that the worst drop was in 2012, second worst in 2015, third worst in 2019, fourth worst in 2020. So they follow chronological order. That's telling. Now, CZ and Binance also felt the need to let us know what was happening, which was fantastic, where CZ posted this graph. So in this one, we can see Bitcoin's historical corrections. You can see each drop was based on percentage, as well as what caused some of the major worst ones that we've had. The funny thing, though, is that that's actually not even the most important part of the chart. So CZ noted the most important part is actually the high and low prices. And again, he's right. So what you can see is that as time goes on, that the highs and the lows both get higher. So again, chronologically, Bitcoin is retaining a significant amount of value. Now, this chart from Binance shows the psychology of a market cycle. And I think we basically just went through all of this list of the entire emotions leading up to this past weekend and through today. Now, lastly, we also had a post from Plan B 2 days ago on May 22nd where he said, Bitcoin oscillates in the dark blue band around stock to flow model value. Buying opportunities like today are rare. Q1 2019, when I wrote the stock to flow article, March 2020 due to COVID, and now. Life is all about choices. So, where does all of this leave us? Well, the market is up today over 17%, as I mentioned. The Bitcoin chart has a green dot on the market cipher. For anyone buying over the weekend, there was and still are tons of opportunities and fabulous discounts. As I mentioned on Twitter, I've in fact been buying BNB throughout the drop. Why not? It makes too much sense. Could the market dip again? Yes, it could, right? It could definitely dip again because, as I said earlier, those moving averages have to correct themselves, and they haven't done that yet, all right? Now, the biggest takeaway that I can give you today, and I was thinking about this earlier this morning, is that at no point in this market crash, in this dip, whatever you want to call it, did any of the projects that I've reviewed, not one single project, change fundamentally for the negative. Not one. Not one single project. None of them had the bottom fall out of the project and now it's just gone to, pot. No, we don't have that at all. What we did have was coordinated FUD, right? So this is why I continue to load up on BNB, because the Binance Smart Chain is actually doing what everyone else hopes to do, okay? Now, with that, I found this tweet by Anthony Pompliano that summed up exactly how I was feeling, so I figured I'd share it. So, the FUD is just noise. The underlying thesis hasn't changed at all. Central banks continue to print money, while authoritarian countries, cough cough China, are becoming more aggressive because of the threat decentralization is to them. Bitcoin is peaceful, and he's as bullish as ever. So with that, I personally don't care if the market is up or down on a day-to-day basis. I don't care. I'm in it for the long game. I follow the fundamentals, and until those fundamentals fail me, I'll continue to hashtag stack and load and hashtag BTFD, okay? So, for anyone concerned that my prior price predictions are all shot now because of this recent dip, I don't think so at all. And all of the projects are still the exact same projects, and the fundamentals haven't changed. So I've had a few requests coming through for updates, and I may provide some update videos on some of these. I may just run through a bunch of them in one video. But that being said, all of the fundamentals are still there. Great projects are still great projects. The people doing the big things are still doing those. And simply an article about China doesn't change any of that at all. All right, so that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where I'm tweeting and retweeting on a regular basis, and I was definitely retweeting and tweeting this past weekend a lot. So check me out there. And for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back and tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.